RP Show continues across the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network and Game Plus TV and a variety of other platforms. Very pleased to welcome our hockey analyst, Jared Dumba, today. Hey, Jared, 20 minutes, as you know, goes by very fast, so it's nice to chat with you. I see by the Matthews jersey, you're still worshiping at the altar of Austin, and they finally won last night. Is that where you want to start with the Leafs?
Yeah, I'd love to. Man, you know what? It's such an interesting league this year with the way everything's. You got some people that are claiming they're going to be Cup champs already. 20 games into the season. You got some people that are ready to jump off a cliff. Everybody's right there. I mean, the Leafs have not playing good. Missing Matthews hasn't helped. For whatever reason, they're just not bringing their game like a lot of people thought that they would. Uh, a lot of people thought they'd be playing a lot tougher game with the guys that they brought in, and it just doesn't seem to be working out that way. Not sure what's happening there, but when you look at the standings, like I just did this morning, you're 4 points out of second place. So not all is lost. You're not completely out of it yet. I've heard Leafs fans saying, "Is it time to throw it in and hope we win the lottery?" You're 4 points out of second. And Austin's not in the lineup. Your goaltenders, we all know how that went from the beginning of the year. You're without Wall for a while. He's just getting back. So let's let everything settle down a little bit. And I think after Christmas, that's when you start. January, maybe you can start hitting the panic button a little bit, but. Right now it's just need to clean up some things, and who knows, I bet you we're going to see a trade or two happen somewhere along the line, and not only with the Leafs, with a lot of teams.
Well, yeah, and like I say, 20 minutes will go by real fast because I have a lot of things to get to with you. And before I get this to the Celebrini Bedard thing, mindful of the fact we're on the
Okay.
air in Nevada and they don't care about Team Canada down there, but we all do. The Canadians do. So we'll get to that in a second. But the Islanders, the New York Islanders are just mowing their way through the NHL largely. And you talk about checking the standings, they are in a wild card spot right now. I think their record is 11, 7,
Yeah.
and 4. Nobody expected that. And this number one overall pick, Matthew Schaefer, as you and I were texting back and forth, he's breaking Bobby Orr's records. What is with the
it's
Islanders?
it's unbelievable. I don't know, when you watch them, I think from what I can see, because you saw a lot of the same guys last year, and now you got a couple different guys in there. But I think Matthew Schaefer's come in, and I think he's already the leader of that team. I think guys are seeing what he's
Mm.
doing and seeing his confidence, and I think they're just following suit. And they're all. It looks like they're having a good time out there. There's smiles. Everybody's working hard. I think they're saying if this 18-year-old kid can go out and have 7 goals already before Christmas after playing 17 games last year in his draft year. I think the rest of us can step up too. That's what it looks like to me. And boy, with Matthew Schaefer, who expected that? I said I would, before the season, I said I'd send him back down, give him his 9 games, and let him go play some hockey before you throw him into the fire. Don't ruin him. Holy, he's one of the best defensemen in the league. It looks like. He still makes his mistakes, but the mistakes are very limited if you watch a game. He might make one or two little mistakes a game that he wants back, but it's not every game. He's just incredible. What's he going to be when he's 25, 26, 27? He's going to be incredible.
Well, a lot of these young guys will. So now might be the best time to get into it. At least he's Canadian because we were talking about Celebrini and Bedard. First two teenagers in 80 years to score hat tricks on the same night. Like this isn't small stuff. And I'm kind of looking back, going, Macklin Celebrini of the San Jose Sharks didn't even win Rookie of the Year last year. Lane Hudson did of Montreal, who's American, right? But I
Yeah.
guess my point
Yeah.
to you is you see these ads for the NHL. They're saying the golden era is now. Is it? Because I feel like
Yeah.
Sid and Ovi are like, not so fast. It's a great era, is what it is.
I think it makes it that much better because when Sid and Ovi came in, you didn't see the older boys doing quite as much as what Sid and Ovi are still doing. You got Sid and Ovi in that crew. You got Corey Perry, who's got what, like 7 or 8 goals this year, 6 or 7 goals this year in LA, and he started the season late. You got all these old guys that are. I think it's obviously the training and the diet nowadays and all that type of stuff. Learning how to rest. Back in the day, we didn't. Our rest was a little bit different, as you know, Roddy. But
Mm.
but nowadays, now like you mentioned, the golden era. You got all those old guys that are playing so well. Old guys, 10 years younger, 15 years younger than us, but they're playing excellent and putting up points, leading their teams. Look at what Pittsburgh's doing. Ovi's starting to score again, but then you got those young guys, Bedard and Celebrini. Like you mentioned, Hudson. You got lots of the young guys. There's Snuggerud's doing good things. I mean, you look around the league, and a lot of the young guys are starting to come around already. So Zeev Boyum, and we talked about him a little bit last time. There's an interesting mix of really old guys in the hockey world. You'd say really old guys and really young guys, and everybody in between. You're getting a little bit of everything, and I think that's leading us. I think we're already there in the golden age, like you said, the golden age of hockey.
Yeah.
It's here. When you get to watch Bedard and Celebrini every night, wow.
So that is a nice segue into what our poll question is today, and I'm dying to get your take. People are getting worked up about this, and they shouldn't. It's for EMJ Marketing. Who should be on the men's Olympic hockey team for Team Canada? Should it be Connor Bedard or Macklin Celebrini, or both, or neither?
I would take both. I would. You know what I think is going to happen? I think you're going to see Celebrini being on, one of the third liners, a regular third liner, and it'll be the same thing, kind of like when Connor Bedard was 16 at the World Juniors. He'll be taken as a spare, might not play the first game. Somebody will have a little injury or not play so well. He'll jump in, and by the end of the second game, he'll be playing on the first or second line, and he'll be putting all the questions to bed about, well, he's bad, he's not as good defensively as you need as this other guy or that other guy. Guys like that, when you put him in those big games, he'll be good enough defensively. I can tell you that. And you know what? He's not going to be counted on to be your defensive guy. He'll be out there with a on a line with a guy like Sidney Crosby or somebody that's that can lead defensively. But he'll be out there. He'll be doing the right things. I get where that comes from. Him, a couple extra giveaways here and there, playing with the Chicago Blackhawks. But it's a completely different team. He doesn't have to do everything like he does with Chicago. So I think you'll see those mistakes limited. I would take both of them. I don't know if it's going to happen, but that would be my call. Is that Bedard's the extra guy and Celebrini's taken as a third liner, but they both end up
Yeah.
contributing.
Well, if I look at the roster for the Four Nations face-off, and for the viewers of hockey in both countries here, Canada and the USA, it was 4 countries: Canada, USA, Sweden, Finland. It went to overtime of the gold medal game. Canada, USA. It doesn't get closer than that. And Canada won. And I'm just saying, if you're going to put those 2 kids in, who are you bringing out? Because it would have to be a Sam Bennett. It would have to be a Anthony Cirelli. And like John Cooper won it all. He's coaching Canada again in the Olympics. So I can't. It's not a slam dunk. People are saying it's a slam dunk. I don't think it's a slam dunk.
No, it's definitely not a slam dunk. But I think when you take the Olympic game as compared to the tournament last year, what you're going to see is it's going to be a different tournament. The reffing is going to be a lot harder. The guys aren't going to get away with as much as they did. It's not going to be like an NHL game. It's going to be that double IHF. You got to whisper around and dance around, walking on eggshells, or you're going to be in the box type of game. So I think there might be a little bit more room. By that time there's probably going to be some unlucky guy who has some sort of an injury that can't go, or that's just a little too nicked up to go. And do you want to take Bennett, or do you want to have Connor Bedard? If Connor Bedard's second in the league in scoring at that time, or third in the league in scoring, who do you want when you're going to need goals on a Olympic ice surface? That's where I would go with it, but you never know.
Well, here's the thing. It's fun to debate. And I mean, you don't spend time around the football people like I do, but you are around the hockey
No.
people. You are one. And the great thing about hockey people is they'll sit and have a debate like this. Whereas the football people will go, you don't know anything. You don't know anything. the hockey guys. Oh yeah, maybe you're right. It's a
Yeah.
fun discussion. Laverne in Speedy Creek writes in. He says Celebrini and Bedard both should maybe be there, but that's a pickle for Hockey Canada to deal with. I'd say Celebrini has a better two-way game. Well, I watched real closely when Chicago was here, and Connor Bedard is actually playing defense. And I saw their coach, Jeff Blashill, going into the season saying he was going to teach Connor how to play defense. I'm like, good luck. He never has. And now he is. And plus, he's scoring
Yeah.
a bushel, too. So, and maybe
Yeah.
he should be coach of the year. But hang on. I wrote down a few things I wanted to talk to you about. The Calgary Flames, dead last.
Yeah.
And I've heard the pundits this morning saying if they lose tonight in Buffalo, it's over. Is it over? What do you think?
Never over till it's over. But for me, I said the same thing early in the season last year about him, and look what happened. But to me, it looks like the writing's on the wall. It looks like there's a couple guys checked out. I think a couple guys that are looking down the road, going, "Where am I going to go? What team do I want to go to?" That's kind of what it looks like on some nights. Um, it's just so tough. You never want to badmouth. I think if I was Calgary, I'd get rid of a couple guys and let's hope for the best in that lottery this year. But really easy to say when you're on the outside, you're not a member of the team, and you're not even a fan of the team. It's a lot easier, as you know, especially if you're an owner. You got to sell tickets too. You're not just giving away Kadri and Anderson and everybody just to hope that you might win the lottery and get Gavin McKenna. You still got to put a product on the ice. You still have to fill those seats, and you got to give people something to cheer for. So we'll see what happens. But if it was me, I'd be looking to the future. Probably about late December, early January.
And I mean, what specifically does that mean? I mean, I think we could all say that they were a year ahead last year of the rebuild. Nobody expected that, yet nobody expected this. So it's like I saw a meme that Frank Saravelli saying yesterday that they should blow it up right now. And it's easy for Frank to say, but what does blowing it up look like? I mean, I feel bad for them.
Yeah,
I've heard the fans are
I
angry in Calgary, and I don't blame them.
That's why I say, late December, early January. That's usually where you got the team, where you got, one or two teams that are looking to add long before the deadline. If you can make a good trade where you can bring in somebody that's a guy that can play now, you can improve somebody else's team with say a guy like Kadri, and then you can also get something for the future. If you can do something like that, and you're still last place or second last place by end of December, January, you can kind of start that process of blowing it up. And then after that, two or three guys, once you've made that initial move and everybody knows what you're doing, two or three more guys you generally go out the door. And you can kind of do that slowly as you're still filling seats all the way up to the trade deadline, and bringing in at that point you can just you can focus on the guys that you've brought in, some guys for the future. You might have a good first or second year guy, third year guy that somebody's given up on, or maybe you get a big draft pick or two, whatever it is. Then you can start promoting that to your fans to keep everybody engaged, to keep everybody coming back and excited for the future.
Terry from Calgary writes in regarding the Olympic rosters. He says there are two more spots available at the Olympics. And I get that, but at the end of the day, you're still only dressing 12 forwards and 6D. So maybe you have a couple extra reserve guys, but you still got to decide on your top 18, right?
Well, and you still want to win, right? Sorry to interrupt you, Roddy. Yeah, you still want you still want to win. So if in those coaches' minds, if they're already set saying, no, these guys are too young, they're not ready, they'll have two or three more Olympics down the road, forget it. You want your spare guys to be able to jump in. If there's an injury on the first shift, the first period, first game, you got a lot of time left. You gotta put a top-notch player. These are all first line top all-stars on their team. So you want to take the best of the best, uh, no matter who that is in the coach's mind and the GM's mind. We'll see who that is. In my mind, it's Bedard and Celebrini. Let the young guys rock and roll. I think they'll get super excited to be there, but it's gonna be interesting to see who they pick. There's gonna be either
Well,
way.
and
There's gonna be fireworks. Somebody's gonna be complaining, especially here in Saskatchewan.
but here's the talk, by the way, here in South Florida. If Matthew Tkachuk just gets back nicely from injury, Does Vincent Viola, the owner of the Panthers, step in and go, Mr. Bettman, who, by the way, they're buddies. They are buddies. We don't want Matthew going to Italy. Can he do that? I feel like the owner, or not the owners, the commissioner has overruled the owners with regards to international play and said these guys are playing.
Yeah, I don't think that they can. I don't think they can do that. They can certainly suggest it, but I think that the commissioner is going to see the bigger picture, and he's going to say, even if he tweaks something else and you lose him for the year or something, there's Kachuk's still got a long career left. The hockey world needs the best teams out there, and once Bettman's committed to that and the NHL's committed to that, they're committed to send it. And all they know how much the guys want to be in that locker room with all the rest of those guys. That's an opportunity of a lifetime just to be in that sitting in that locker room, no matter how much you play.
Okay, well, it's funny you say that because, again, you're going to come visit me and I'll show you around. You'll meet all the hockey community in South Florida because it's a small one. But Doug McLean said if I was still a general manager, and Doug lives here, Doug goes, if I was an NHL GM now, I'd be riddled with anxiety, not wanting my guys to go to the Olympics because look what happened to guys last year at the Four Nations Face-Off, a smaller tournament in terms of time, right? Less games, more chance of getting hurt at the Olympics, man. But again, they're sending the stars. That's the way that it is.
And on top of that, how many guys were fine during the tournament, but were a little worn out when they came back? Their game wasn't right where it should be, and they got a little nick here or there. McDavid had an injury; he missed just 2 or 3 games. But you're a little tired after that. That's a lot of hockey and a lot of being amped up, a lot more than everybody else who's
Well,
sitting on the beach somewhere enjoying a Mai Tai.
Kachuk was a great example. He got hurt in the fight. I don't care what anybody tells me. He did. Okay. He wasn't the same since. He's hurt now. It's the perfect example of what the owners wouldn't want. Okay. You have the Matthews jersey on the wall. I'm going to say this again. I'll finish with this because that's your team. The GM comes out, Brad Treliving, and gives Craig Berube a vote of confidence. And then they win that night. What did that mean to you when you heard that?
I just think they know it's the players. I mean, how many coaches can you go through before you say, okay, you know what? It's every time you don't want to coach around, everybody just pulls back, and it's not like guys sit around and talk about this stuff that they're going to do that, but it starts happening, and every now and then you get a group of guys that think that they have all the power, and a lot of the times the guys do, but right now Berube's got a Stanley Cup winner. How many Stanley Cup winners are in that locker room? He's making it clear to the players, I think, this is going to be on you guys. We're not getting rid of the coach. We're not giving you a cakewalk in any other way. You guys step up. You guys bring your A game. You can get all the points in the world, but sooner or later, you got to start playing a little tougher game and start playing some defense as well. And I think that was just a clear message to the players, in my opinion.
Gotcha. Well, it's funny because they brought in Mike Babcock for the exact same reason. He had the Stanley Cup ring, and we saw how that went. It's something about that place. I don't know what it is or why. And as Darren Dreger's told me, nobody's been able to figure it out. Nobody. There was some real smart guys have gone through there, and they haven't been able to figure out what the hell it's going to take to win a Stanley Cup in Toronto. But anyways, it's fun to follow. And Jared, we've reached the end of our time. Great job, my friend. I'll be seeing you soon.
See you soon. I'm going to look to plan a trip, so I'll be looking at my calendar.
Good. I'll be seeing you before you see me here. Jared Dumba from the famous hockey-playing Dumba family. We'll be back in a moment with a sports update and viewer takeover the rest of the way. We're on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network and Game Plus TV.